For a show that started up as a pretty fun watch, I found at the beginning, but I saw a lot of pushback in the early stages of this show before the shoe memory plot twist, this show really did surprisingly become one of the best shows I think you could have watched this anime season. I really feel that strongly about it. And the way they end this show, I mean, for those who didn't know, there's a lot of speculation about whether this would be a split core. Apparently there was some rumors that it'd be a split core, or there was at least 2 cores in the production pipeline. I have no idea if that's true. As of the recording of this video, there's nothing announced for more. If something happens, I'll add it to the pinned comment of this video. But as it stands, you could see how a Season 2 is possible, especially now that the rom-com element is kind of right in the forefront. The sister stuff, you know, the love triangle, harem, building up and everything like that. And you can see how a Season 2 is most definitely possible, but I would argue this is actually a pretty fantastic stopping point. And even though I'm not saying I wouldn't enjoy more if they made more, I don't see a Season 2, another core of some sort, living up to the quality that these 13 episodes delivered, mainly because there was a lot of emotional baggage, there was a lot of twists and turns, and now that that's kind of been resolved, yes, there's a lot of fun antics that can be had, and even if I enjoy that, I just don't see how it could live up to the quality that this show laid out with its 13 episodes here. I mean, should they make more, I'll absolutely come up here and talk about it until I don't like it anymore, but it just feels like a pretty great stopping point, and whether we get more anime or this is the stopping point, one thing's for sure, this is a fantastic finale, whether that finale is just for a season's time or altogether. I found myself leaving with a grin on my face. There was emotion, it felt like there were sacrifices being made, and the way they got around the whole sister stuff without fully imprisoning her, I thought was kind of brilliant, and allows for that kind of rom-com atmosphere to pop up at the end as Kisara and Shu are about to get down and dirty. They turn on the light, I'm expecting Ayano, and then it's just the sister being a gremlin, almost Kill a Kill animation of just shoveling food down her throat, and having a demon versus demon throw in a human with a gun. I'm surprised Sister Sharon wasn't popping up as well. It just felt like a great stopping point with a fantastic action scene. I remember it was either last comment section or the comment section before. A lot of people are like, oh man, the mom's gonna come in and it'll be like the big final big bad villain. I love how that was just casually strapped down and just obliterated in such a quick motion, which I thought was fantastic. My favorite part of that battle was actually the scene where she's starts freaking out, and then she launches it looks like shadowy blobs, and then you see these 3 creatures. The way they stylized those was completely badass. I immediately paused the video and I just was looking at every inch of these characters. I just thought they looked amazing. They were creepy, they were badass, they weren't some weird 3D CGI blob. And for a show that's literally had an action scene of some sort in every single episode, Engage Kids did not dip in a major way. You might be able to nitpick and pick apart some little areas here and there, but for a show with more action than honestly most shows airing this year, there's usually a lot more downtime before characters are racing around on screen throwing punches or attacking with giant sword blasts. But this show, for episodes that had 10 minutes worth of action, or at the very least a few minutes worth of action in every episode, the show just didn't dip, man. I think you can make an argument for quality of character arcs and moments throughout the show that might have dipped and gotten better over the course of the run for you. But I think visually, production-wise, both with the sound effect design, the use of music, the voice actors, holy shit, did the voice actors nail it, especially in those more heart-tugging moments. They did a great job, and seeing my boy just, talk to his parents' grave, as well as seeing my boy's grave next to it, just seeing Miles and just how, there isn't hostility anymore because of those memories coming back, it just felt like a perfect, bittersweet way to conclude it. And then they surprise you with that rom-com element, and while I wasn't expecting it, I'm kind of glad, because if this was to serve as an ending, you get a little more hopeful. It's kind of chaotic. The man's definitely kind of back in that personality as he was in the first few episodes, but it doesn't really come across as a playboy anymore. More so, it's just he's made his choice on where he wants to go with all the relationships he's built with, and I can completely support that given everything he's been through. I love Sharon, though, when she was parting ways with Ayano. She's like, oh yeah, I spent the whole morning in a hotel with him, before just toying with her emotions and driving off, being like, I'm not that connected, get over yourself. There's just a lot to like about the characters. The fight scene was great. I felt like there was an actual arc that we followed that had a resolution with his parents' storyline. Sure, the public doesn't think better of his father, but for him anyway, I think no longer chasing after simple revenge or sacrificing himself to get there, it felt like he overcame a lot and gained a lot in the process, both good and bad. I think that's what makes Kisara, like, when they're leaving the cemetery there, she says, like, I want to learn everything, not just the good, I want to hear about the bad, the painful, the heartbreaking. And I love the fact that he explains, like, yeah, I'll tell you bit by bit over the course of our life, sort of a thing. And that's what I really like about him. It just felt like a great stopping point that was unexpectedly chaotic at the end, but it just fits in tone with kind of how the show starts off. But the difference of what we looked at Shu at the beginning of the show compared to what we look at Shu now at the end of the show, it really is night and day. And I love that characters weren't perfect in it either. And it kind of felt like we saw both sides of the human psyche, and not everyone was flawless. They made some mistakes, and at times they were just downright cringy, but you gotta love their kind of declaration that, you know, I'm gonna use my status of being the popular kid to get into the political landscape, and you gotta love that kind of cringy, but if not entertaining content. Like, I'm not gonna say Engage Kiss was my absolute favorite show of the season, but it was definitely one of the shows I looked forward to the most alongside Recoil, and they definitely made Saturdays an absolute banger for sure. I'm interested to see, though, because I know this is a multimedia project, right? I know there's a game coming out. I think it's next year, but there isn't an official release date, but that seems to be the speculation. I'm interested to see what they'll do in terms of, like, narrative events, potentially, and stuff like that, so maybe they will end up developing something that will really make it feel like we need more anime content, but as it stands, it's hard not to leave with a smile on your face, feeling like we saw some great action, some great character arcs, and given a harem storyline, all things considered, with a overly jealous sister, this should have felt a lot more cringy or a lot more cliche and typical. But the fact that Engage Kiss made it actually stand out and feel like there was reasons for these one-off flings and how he kind of strung these girls along because of the memory manipulation and everything. It's crazy how it actually became something thought-provoking more often than it came across as just, oh, it's anime being anime trying to drag along a harem, so multiple viewers will have a different waifu that they can worship. It really turned into something special, I find, and honestly, I could see myself rewatching this in a year's time, honestly. I really enjoyed it. I feel like it has a good stopping point, and whether we get more anime or not, it just feels conclusive, yet open-ended because there's still so much left to tell in his life, but sometimes less can be more, but at the same time, this show surprised me in ways I wasn't expecting, so who knows, maybe they could do it again with another story arc that could even surpass what we've seen here. And honestly, I might go as far as to say it actually had one of my favorite character design palettes of the season. It's not like they were massively different from anime characters we've seen in other series, but the way that they could so easily have demon girls, nuns, you know, very seductive armor on someone like Ayano. They actually did a great job in making them fit for this world and the lore they were setting up, but also just feel distinct and give them all personalities, which also you can't typically say with a harem rom-com style show, but leave it to Engage Kiss to prove us wrong, right? But I'll pass the torch over to you. What did you think of Engage Kiss, whether as an ending, the season as a whole? What was your favorite, least favorite parts of it? Do let me know what you're feeling, because this was a pretty fun one to talk about for me, so do let me know what you're feeling down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and also subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.